The 1994 Caribbean Cup is potentially the most bizarre, ridiculous, and stupid thing to happen in a footballing context in the history of the sport. The competition is the premier footballing event for Caribbean nations, and the 94 edition was hosted by Trinidad and Tobago. All expectations were for another smoothly run contest that would celebrate the region's footballing talents. However, seemingly subtle and inconsequential changes to the competition rules, intended to produce some added excitement, resulted in the complete breakdown of the sport as we know it. So prepare yourself. I'm about to explain to you the disaster that was the 1994 Caribbean Cup. First of all, it's important to understand the context. Why would a football tournament that had been run for years without incident suddenly become a victim to its own rules? Well, there are two main things to look at. First of all, FIFA had introduced the golden goal rule in 1993 as an alternative option to standard extra time rules. This offered a sudden death style finish to tighter matches, which could provide much more excitement. As a result, the Caribbean Cup organisers jumped at the chance to implement such an exciting new rule. Secondly, there was the unique rules that only this competition used. With only 3 teams per group, and therefore only 2 matches per team in the first stage, there needed to be some sort of rule to make sure the groups weren't all tied up after all the matches were played. As a result, the organisers made sure no match could finish in a draw. Every match had to have a winner. This rule was unconventional, but seemingly functional. This functionality, however, changes when we look at the second additional rule. All games drawing after 90 minutes would have to go into sudden death to decide a winner. But the team to score this golden goal would be awarded 2 goals for the effort. Now, if the matches were decided on a simple head-to-head, this could be fine. But because the groups were decided on the goal difference rule, there was the potential for a serious issue. And boy did we get one. In fact, it probably couldn't have gone any worse. I'll set the scene. Group A had 3 teams: Grenada, Puerto Rico, and Barbados. Puerto Rico defeated Barbados in the opening fixture by a goal to nil, going on to lose to Grenada 2-0 in their second match. This left the table looking like this. A deciding fixture between Barbados and Grenada would decide who would progress on to the next round. Grenada would go on with a win or a 1-goal defeat, and Barbados would only progress with victory by a minimum 2-goal margin. The stage was set, but what happened next was hard to believe. Barbados got off to a flyer, finding themselves 2 up and on course to send them through. The clock ticked on, and as it hit the 83rd minute, disaster struck. Grenada pulled a goal back, 2-1, and Barbados needed to find another goal or they would be packing their bags early. For the next few minutes, the Barbadians desperately piled forward to find the much needed goal. But to no avail. Grenada had parked the bus. There was no way through. Or was there? They could take the game to extra time, as no game was allowed to end in a draw. Due to the weird rules implemented in the competition, Barbados actually stood a better chance of going through if they conceded again. In the most bizarre moment in modern football, a Barbadian defender proceeded to pass the ball back and forward with his own keeper, before slamming it into his own net. An own goal on purpose. Never before had conceding a goal on purpose been the most viable tactical option, but the 94 Caribbean Cup, it gave us that. But things were about to get worse. The game now looked destined for extra time. Barbados would have an extra 30 minutes to find a winner, and this would count for 2 and send them on to the next stage. But with 5 minutes and stoppages to go, the Grenadians clocked what was happening, realising that they could score at either end of the park and still progress, as a 1-goal defeat or victory would be good enough. What we got as a result was the weirdest 5 minutes of football the world has ever seen. One team actively trying to score at either end, whilst the other side frantically defended both goals. Utter madness. Alas, the Barbados team successfully defended both goals, taking the game to extra time where they would ultimately find the winner to send them through to the next stage. Potentially the most unsporting way to win a football match we have ever seen. Never before had such a rule completely broken a sport on an international stage like this, and the organisers were subject to much deserved criticism. The Grenadian manager was quoted at the time: I feel cheated. The person who came up with these rules must be a candidate for a madhouse. The game should never be played with so many players running around the field confused. Our players didn't even know which direction to attack, our goal or their goal. I have never seen this happen before. In football, you are supposed to score against the opponents to win, not for them. Well, he wasn't wrong. I can't imagine what it would have been like to watch it in person. As you can imagine, the rule was scrapped for the following edition of the competition, and it really leaves us wondering, what were they thinking? If you have reached this point in the video, I really hope you've enjoyed the content. I'm hoping to deliver more what were they thinking style videos in the coming weeks, so if you feel inclined, leave a like or click subscribe to see more of this in the future. Cheers!